Let's execute it. Right. Hey everyone, and thanks for stopping by. In this video tutorial, we're going to put into test the LTC1871 boost converter, which I actually found on AliExpress. We're going to put into test how much voltage it can be able to produce, the efficiency, and how much current it can be able to produce. Also, the 7-segment display right here actually says a different thing, while physics, in other words, my multimeter actually says a different thing. We're going to find out, and let's dive into the video.
Now, looking at the booster board right here, you can see the booster board which I actually talked about. I have actually made a full unboxing video on how I actually unboxed this particular booster. This is actually the LC1871 type of booster. That's the name of the IC, which is actually right here. I don't know if you can see it if you zoom clearly. I don't know if my camera can get it. Anyways, this is the IC which is responsible and actually works in this booster module. You can see two MOSFET right here. Holy crap, these two MOSFET right here is actually what helps to switch the PWM signal, and you can see the big inductor right here. This inductor helps to boost the voltage, and you can see the capacitor right here which helps to stay stable the input voltage and the output voltage, and you can see some buttons right here. This buttons is responsible for increasing the voltage and decreasing the voltage, and to select to check the input or the output voltage. Yes, this module right here actually have another feature, which actually the voltmeter feature, so you can actually check the voltage with this booster model. It actually said it has the voltmeter, which is as written as the description, so it actually shows the particular voltage level of the input voltage which you put in here, and also the output voltage which it will be outputting. I'm going to be testing how much current it can give out, and also I'm going to be explaining the pros and cons of this booster, so stick around and let's go into the video.
Now, I'm also going to be inserting this nut and bolt to my module, due to the module actually come with its own nuts and bolts, but I felt that those nuts and bolts are kind of short, so I want to put it here like this to raise the module a little bit so that it cannot be touching, because there's some kind of terminals right here and I don't want them to be connected to the pad. I don't want anything to interfere with it, so I'm just going to do that in a minute. Okay, I guess I'm done with everything and everything is in place. I've put all the nut and bolt, and it can be able to stand properly and to avoid okay, first off, before I actually test it with my battery, I want to test it with my PSU right now. I'm going to put in voltage into the module and see how the module actually works. So let's start with that. I'm going to bring out some wires which I'm going to be connecting to the PSU, but first I'm going to turn the PSU off for safety reasons. I'm going to be connecting this wire to the input side of the booster. As you can see right here, this side says in and the other side says out. So this place is out, this place is in, positive and negative. You have to look the polarity so that you don't blow the module. I guess it does not have reverse polarity protection, but it has short circuit protection when I checked in the description of the product. So that's one thing you need to keep in mind. So I'm just going to insert it like so. What you also need to keep in mind is that you need to use a very thick wire, because they actually said the booster is capable of delivering about 75 watts and about 128 watts if the input and output voltage is around 20 volts, which is a nice one, and I really appreciate that. And I'll be really curious to test it out, but I really don't have a load that I'm gonna draw 128 watt or 75 watt, so I don't know if that's going to be possible or that is going to be in a future video testing. I'm just going to clip it to the PSU. So first we're going to turn the PSU on, and this light right here is going to turn on, because it says right here that this light is actually the power. So when this light turns on, it means it's the power. This light is actually green, and these two lights right here actually indicates the out and in. Anyways, too much talk, so let's turn it on. Okay, let's increase the voltage a little bit to around 3 volts, because they said 3 volts is the starting point which the booster actually works. Okay, we can see it actually turns on. Okay, 3 volts. All right, we are at 3 volts. I'm going to turn off the light so they're going to see it. Is it turned on yet? I don't think. 3 volts is not working on this thing yet. Oh my god. Okay, let's increase the voltage a little bit. Let's say 3.7. All right, I guess it's turning on a little bit. I don't know if you can see it, guys. I really love to shut down all the lights. I don't know if you can see a little green something right here. So let's increase the voltage to 4 volt. Alright, it's actually made visible right now. So I guess around 4 volts, that is when the board is totally alive. I guess let's have to turn the light on back. So it actually says 3 volts. I've already found the cons on this module. The module actually says 3 volts, but around 4 volts, that is when it's actually waking up. But I agree with them. I actually saw in the description that the item, this module actually turns off if it's below 3 volts. So the 7 segment display right here, we will not turn on if it's around 3 volts, but this light will turn on. But I couldn't see the light, but I was already seeing the light around 3.7, 3.8. But anyway, still good. That is not our problem. Our volt is 4.2. That is the standard output voltage of a normal lithium battery. So the normal full charge of a lithium battery is actually 4.2 volts. So that is okay. And we can see around 4 volts. I don't know if you can see it. Let me reduce the light a little bit. Okay, we can see about around 4.3 volts. So it's actually showing the value of which the voltage is inputted. So in other words, it actually serves as a voltmeter. Now let's see the output voltage. All right, it's at 5.8. 5.8. So yes, this is nice. And I'm going to be connecting a USB at the output of this section to actually see if we can charge our phone. And I don't know, so I found this USB right here, and I think it would be nice to use it. I've already soldered some kind of wires to it. You should be very careful. The left side is actually negative and the right side is actually positive. Be careful with that so that you don't burn your phone, on your devices. So I'm going to be connecting these wires to the output side of this module. It actually says out positive, out negative. You have to be careful of these so that you don't put in the wrong values. Again, I don't think this module actually have reverse polarity protection. You just need to put a diode if you want to protect your module. All right, we fixed the USB in. First off, I'm going to be testing the output with my USB tester right here. You don't just plug your component directly to it. You need to confirm the voltage. There is also very interesting idea which I got from this booster, and which you need to know. So you need to stay to the ending of this video to get the full breakdown tutorial before you get this booster and actually work with it. And if you like my content, subscribe to my channel. Let's test it out. Okay, let's give it 4.2 volts. All right, we can see right here. I'm going to turn off the light on me. You can see right here on the 7 segment display, it actually says 5.8 volts, which is the output. This is the output, which is actually saying. And our USB tester right here, we can see 5.01 volts, which is not that bad though. It's still around 5 volts, so no problem. I'm going to be connecting this load. What is this? This is actually a load. Now this is responsible for drawing 1 amp, and you can also draw 2 amps from this particular load. So this load, you just need to connect this USB port to your USB port right here. I'm going to be connecting it here, and when you toggle the switch like this, it's going to draw 1 amp, and when you toggle it like this, it's going to draw 2 amps. So this load is just a cool load you can get on AliExpress if you just want to test the durability of a product or a module. So anyways, that's not what we are doing, so let's just connect the load. Too much talks. Look at what we have, chat. The voltage dropped to 4.89 volts, and we can see around 2.9 amps being drawn from my PSU, which is a lot though. Now the module is actually supplying 5 volts, and we can see here on the USB tester, I don't know if you can see it clearly, we can see here on the USB tester that it's actually drawing around 1.7 amps. Now this load is actually set to draw 2 amps, but it's drawing 1.7, which is no problem. Now wait a second, let's calculate the efficiency. Now with the 4.2 volt which is applied in the input of the converter, and it actually draws about 2.9 amps, which we actually saw from my PSU, at the output it actually delivers approximately 4.89 volts, and it's showing right there that it's actually drawing about 1.7 amps. That is the USB load which I connected. Based on my measurements, I calculated the efficiency to be roughly around 68% under the test conditions which I applied, other than the description which the seller actually said that the product is, which is 96%.
percent of efficiency, and my test is kind of 68%. I don't really know, maybe if I'm drawing much higher voltage from the boost converter it will be best, but this is just the result I get from my test.
Now if you just toggle this switch right here, it's going to draw 1 amps, and it's actually drawing 1 amps out of the booster, and the booster MOSFET are not that hot. Okay, it's a little bit warm, and we can see around 1.4 amps being drawn from our PSU. Okay, by the way, this module also comes with it actually comes with a heatsink, so you need to put a heatsink if you want to draw, or you want to keep drawing steady high voltage from it. Now, it's also claimed that this module can be able to step up your voltage all the way from 3 volts or from 4 volts all the way to 35 volts, which we're going to be testing right now, and we are going to be controlling that with this potentiometer. And you cannot reduce voltage with this module. This is actually a boost converter, not a box. So if you input around 4 volts in the input of this booster module, you cannot reduce that voltage more than 4 volts. It's only going to be able to boost that voltage up. That is one fact which you need to know. Now, another interesting fact which I want to explain for you guys, I'm going to turn it off a little bit. Now, this potentiometer right here is actually used to increase the voltage or to boost the voltage, and you can use these buttons to increase the voltage or to boost the voltage. I'm going to show you how to do that. Firstly, the way to do it, you're going to click in this out button right here. Pay attention. Once the light which shows out right here is turned on, then you press this button for 2 seconds. When you press the button for 2 seconds, you can notice that this 7-segment display is now blinking. Once it's blinking, it's adjust mode, like it have been switched to adjust mode. Now you can adjust the voltage to anything you want. You can adjust it to either over 35 volts or anyone which you want. I'm going to turn on all the lights so they're going to see it perfectly. So all we need to do is just to press this button continuously, and you can increase the voltage. You can see right now this is actually boosting it up. You can see it. You can press this button continuously over to 35 volts, and you can boost the voltage just like that. But wait a second, look at this. Now when you're done adjusting the voltage which you want, you still need to press it for 2 seconds to remove it from adjust mode, and boom, you get the point now. But the output voltage is still at 5 volts. Why? Now, pardon me, I was just playing around. The really thing which you really need to know about these buttons is that the buttons are not basically used to control the output voltage. The potentiometer is what you use to control the output voltage. These buttons are just for calibration, so that you don't need to plug in your multimeter at the output of this booster to always check your voltage. And also, you can use the buttons to control the 7-segment display to check the input voltage at which you input in the booster. So that is the basic theory of what the button is used for. Now I'm going to toggle the port right now. I just want you to focus on the output voltage. You can see that increase of voltage. I don't know if you can see it. You can see it. So I'm turning the port right now. The voltage is actually increasing. So the port is actually what increased the voltage output. Now let's put up the batteries and let's make our power bank. Alright, the batteries I'm going to be using for this power bank module is actually this 2000 mAh battery, lithium battery. I actually talked about. You can get it from AliExpress. The link will be listed in the description of this video. I'm going to be connecting them in parallel so that they're going to add to the capacity. So I have 2000 mAh right here and 2000 mAh right here. If you connect them in parallel, we're going to have 4000 mAh at our output, and that's what we're going to be doing right now. Okay, I guess they're connected successfully, and I also forgot this battery is actually 3.7 volts, so we are going to be outputting 3.7 volts to this booster module. I know the booster actually turns on really well around 4 volts, but we have no choice. We need to connect it like that. It's alright. The batteries are connected successfully, so we have about 4.7 volts at the output. Let's check it with our multimeter. You can see around 9 volts. Alright. Around 9 volts. That is the main reason why I tell you that you should not believe these 7-segment display. These 7-segment display are controlled by these buttons. Now to reduce the voltage, we're having about 9 volts. We don't want 9 volts, we want 5 volts. So just toggle the voltage. We're going to reduce it. We're going to turn it anti-clockwise direction. and as you can see, it's reducing to 5 volts. All right, okay, we want 5 volts. Okay, 5. And also you can just set this reference voltage right here to be 5 volts, so that you know the exact voltage is actually coming up, because you don't need to always connect your voltmeter to the output side. So as you can see right now, the reference voltage is actually 5 volts. I turn off the light so that you're going to see it. Reference voltage is actually 5 volts, and our multimeter actually says 5 volts at the output side of the booster. Now let's test it if it can actually charge our device. Alright, so I thought of testing our device, but first let's test this our soldering iron. Let's see how it works. Right, and we can plug it to our soldering iron right here. Boom. All right, you can see the light actually turns on and it's actually charging. So nice, and it's drawing about 400 milliamps, which is nice. Let's test it with our device. Okay, we're gonna plug in this cord right here. We're gonna plug in the other side to this device. So let's see. All right, it's actually charging, which is nice though. All right, it actually works. And the another thing which I liked about this booster module is that it actually have a memory. So if you set a particular voltage, or if you set the booster module to a particular voltage, even though power is off and you input power again, it still remember that. As you can see right here, it still says 5 volt. I don't know if you can see it. So it remembers that, and I love that part of the module. It have memories, and it actually stores your output adjustment. So we're going to be connecting these my load like so. As you can see, it's actually drawing about 1.6 amps, and we're going to leave it to run about around 10 minutes. And you can see that the battery voltage is actually 3.9 volts, 3.91, and you can see right here it's actually drawing about 1.7 amps, and the load is actually turned on. And let's see, you can see that the output voltage is still 5 volts, which is nice. So let's see how long it will last. Alright, as you can see right now, it's about 10 minutes, and the voltage, it was 5.14 before, now it's 5.11. And checking the battery voltage right now, we can see there's 3.79, so I guess it's reduced a little bit, but it's still cool though. 4000 mAh of battery will still do the job. But you can see right here, there's no heatsink around here, so I didn't put a heatsink, and the MOSFET can still sustain it. And it actually says it can supply around 6 amps, so 2 amps is a little thin for it. So finally, the short circuit test, let's see if it survives. Okay, so actually I've disconnected the load right now, and I want to short circuit the output of this booster module, and let's see how it's going to be. I hope it does not go on fire. Let's see, in 3, 2, 1, let's just execute it. Right, it's actually turned off. Holy. Let's disconnect the power supply and let's connect it again, and let's see if it turns on. Oh my god, I hope it's not damaged. All right, disconnect it, connect it again. Oh, it actually works. Oh, it actually works. Oh my days. So kudos to the module. Actually, kudos to the module. It actually passed the short circuit test. Actually, they said in the description that it actually will have successful short circuit protection. So if you mistakenly short the output voltage, it's going to shunt the board, and it's going to shut down the board. You need to disconnect your input voltage to be able to make the board to work, and it actually works. So I like the module, but I didn't really test it to its peak. That will be in a future video. And I really like the way it is, and I like the way it responded. So in general, in summary, how does this booster actually work? It's actually taking voltage to the input, actually from 3 volt actually, and it can boost up to 35 volt, and this booster can handle up to 6A output. At the output, as said in the description of this product, and it can also take in 9 amps at the input. So that is just the breakdown of this booster board. I hope you really like this video, and I hope you like the breakdown review. If you have any questions, just let me know in the comment section below, and I'll attend to it. Very cool, and thank you very much for watching. Support me on Patreon to help me make more videos. It really took a lot of time making this kind of videos. Thank you very much. Subscribe to my channel if you like what I do, and I'll see you guys in the next video.